Imagine standing in a narrow mountain pass. Ahead of you is the largest army the world has ever seen. Hundreds of thousands of enemy soldiers stretch beyond the horizon. Behind you lies your homeland, your families, your civilization. Retreat is possible. Survival is possible. But surrender is not. In the summer of 480 BC, just 300 Spartan warriors and a few thousand Greek allies faced the mighty Persian Empire in a battle that would become one of the most famous last stands in human history. This is the story of courage, sacrifice, betrayal, and the battle that transformed Western civilization forever. This is the Battle of Thermopylae. Before we understand Thermopylae, we must understand the enemy. The Persian Empire was the superpower of the ancient world. Stretching from India to Egypt, it controlled millions of people and countless cities. Its rulers commanded enormous wealth and vast armies. At the center of this empire stood one man, Xerxes I, the King of Kings. When Xerxes looked west toward Greece, he saw a collection of small city-states, divided, independent, and stubborn. Years earlier, the Greeks had humiliated Persia at the famous Battle of Marathon. Persia had not forgotten. Now, Xerxes sought revenge. Not just victory. Complete conquest. Xerxes prepared for years. Roads were built. Supplies were gathered. Ships were assembled. Ancient historians claimed his army numbered over 1 million men. Modern historians believe the real number was smaller, perhaps between 100,000 and 250,000. Even so, it was one of the largest military forces ever assembled in the ancient world. As Persian soldiers marched toward Greece, fear spread across the Greek city-states. Many surrendered immediately. Others prepared for war. But one city would become legendary: Sparta, a society built around warfare. From childhood, Spartan boys were trained to become soldiers. Pain was expected. Discipline was mandatory. Fear was weakness. And among them stood their king, Leonidas. When news of Xerxes' invasion arrived, Greece faced a terrible dilemma. The Persian army was simply too large to confront in open battle. The Greeks needed terrain that would neutralize Persia's numerical advantage. They found it at Thermopylae, a narrow coastal pass whose name means hot gates. In some places, the pass was so narrow that only a small number of soldiers could fight at once. Perfect for defense. Leonidas volunteered to lead a force north. But there was a problem. A religious festival prevented Sparta from mobilizing its full army. So Leonidas chose only 300 men, not random soldiers. The best warriors Sparta could offer. Men who already had sons to carry on their family names. They marched knowing they might never return. As the Persian army approached Thermopylae, the ground trembled beneath thousands of marching feet. Persian banners filled the horizon. War drums echoed through the mountains. When Xerxes saw the tiny Greek force blocking his path, he was astonished. According to ancient accounts, he waited several days, expecting them to flee. They did not move. One Persian scout reported something strange. The Spartans were combing their hair. To Persians, this seemed ridiculous. To Spartans, it was tradition. They groomed themselves before battle, as if preparing for a ceremony, or their own funeral. Finally, Xerxes lost patience. He ordered his troops forward. Wave after wave of Persian soldiers charged into the narrow pass. But the geography favored the Greeks. Persian numbers meant nothing. Only a few attackers could engage at once. The Greek hoplites stood shoulder to shoulder, their bronze shields locked together. Their long spears formed an impenetrable wall. Every Persian assault crashed against it, and failed. The narrow pass became a killing ground. Persian soldiers fell by the hundreds, then by the thousands. Yet the Greeks held, hour after hour, attack after attack. The line never broke. Humiliated by the failure of his army, Xerxes deployed his elite force, the Immortals, 10,000 of Persia's finest warriors, highly trained, highly respected, feared throughout the empire. Surely they would succeed. But when they entered the pass, they encountered the same problem: the Spartans' discipline, the Greek shields, the narrow terrain. The immortals attacked repeatedly, and repeatedly they were driven back. For the second day in a row, the Persians failed. Xerxes watched from his throne in disbelief. The most powerful empire on earth had been stopped by a handful of defenders. Then everything changed. A local Greek named Ephialtes approached the Persians. For a reward, he revealed a secret mountain path, a route around the Greek defenses. Under cover of darkness, Persian forces moved through the mountains. Soon, Leonidas received devastating news. The Persians were behind them. The pass had been outflanked. The battle was lost. Leonidas faced a choice: retreat and survive, or stay and fight. He chose to stay. Many Greek allies were dismissed, but a small force remained: Spartans, Thespians, and a handful of others. Together they prepared for death. As dawn broke, the Persians attacked from both directions. The fighting became desperate. Spears shattered, shields splintered, swords broke. Men fought with whatever weapons remained. According to ancient sources, Leonidas himself was killed in combat. A fierce struggle erupted over his body. The defenders refused to surrender, even after their king fell. Even after defeat became certain, they continued fighting, until nearly every defender lay dead. Tactically, Persia had won. The pass was captured. The road into Greece was open. But something unexpected happened. The stand at Thermopylae inspired the Greek world. The sacrifice of Leonidas and his men became a symbol of resistance. Greek morale surged. Soon afterward, the Greeks achieved a crucial victory at the Battle of Salamis, then another at the Battle of Plataea. The Persian invasion collapsed. Greece survived. Did only 300 men fight at Thermopylae? No. Thousands of Greek allies were present during much of the battle. But the 300 Spartans became legendary because they remained until the end. Was the Persian army truly millions strong? Almost certainly not. Ancient historians often exaggerated numbers. Modern estimates are far lower. Yet the core story remains true. A small force held off a vastly larger army through superior tactics, discipline, and courage. And they changed history. More than 2,500 years later, the story of Thermopylae still captivates the world. Not because the Spartans won. They didn't. Not because they survived. Most did not. But because they chose to stand when retreat seemed easier. Their sacrifice became immortal. A reminder that sometimes history remembers not those who live, but those who refuse to yield. The Battle of Thermopylae was more than a military engagement. It became a symbol of courage against impossible odds. And that is why, after thousands of years, the names of Leonidas and the 300 Spartans are still remembered today.